Hey, welcome back to another podcast of Johanna Banana. And as you can see, Johanna Banana still has her Christmas tree up. I know, I'm so lazy. First, it takes me forever to put the damn thing up, and then it takes me forever to take it down. But I will take it down, I think, this week at some point. I know I should. Anyways, okay. So thank you all for watching my other two podcasts about my close call where I almost let this guy move in with me because I was so scared to deal with Aiden's school and working 7 days a week. I was scared, but I'm doing it now, and I think I really did make the right decision. It was the first time that I actually opened up about what happened, and as I'm retelling the story, it definitely made me realize that I made the right move. Of course, I can't wait to live with the guy. That's something I've always wanted, always dreamed about, but you want it to be right. And it just wasn't right with this guy. And I think I made the right decision. Okay, so we're going to get in. I'm going to switch gears because I'm a bit of a male basher. Did you know that? No. I have a huge boulder on my shoulder when it comes to men. I do. And with good reason, because I have dated the whole world. And I don't want to say that I never want to ever come across that I was Miss Little Perfect and my shit didn't stink and it was all them. Because that's never how it is. It's never all one person. Okay, it's how the two people mix together. Do you mix well or do you not mix well? I've never found anybody. I've always said I want to find someone that we're like a good mixture and we mesh well together. I have never found anybody that I mesh well yet with. One person did ask me, I forgot about this. One person did ask me, she said, Joe, has there ever been the one that got away? No. I wanted them all out of my fucking life. I dove one thing, even though people give me so much shit about this, oh my God, Johanna, you just dive head first, feet first. You put your whole body into every relationship. That's just who I am. I put myself out there. I go head first deep into the deep end every time, not just with men, as I'm going to talk about tonight, but in my whole life, with my work, with my friendships, with my girlfriends, my everything. I put myself in fully. And I don't know if it's part of my ADHD, but I just, that's how I am. And one thing I will say that I relate the most to dogs, when dogs see somebody new, how excited they get. Oh my gosh, come say hi to me. Ooh, come pet me. I'm that way. That's where I can really relate with dogs because I get just as excited about people like dogs do. Of course, the only difference between me and the dog, when you piss the fuck out of me, you're going to be on Johanna Banana. But until then, like I always tell people, I treat everybody like I've known them 50 million years. I don't care if I just met you like a damn hour ago. Ask people that meet me. I treat them like I've known them 50 million years until you piss the fuck out of me. And then bye-bye. Yeah, I have no tolerance for that shit. And that's my fucked upness. Aiden is a much more understanding, forgiving person than I am. I'm kind of a bitch when it comes to that. And I think it's just because I have been hurt so much. And with my ADHD, I feel things really strongly. So, what most people would be like, whatever. Me, I'm so dramatic that when somebody hurts me, I feel like they fucking shot me in the mouth or something. Or you just taken my heart. And I'm just like, fuck you. When I'm done with somebody, I'm just done with that person. That's just the way I roll. And I know that's an immaturity. I know. Aiden's a lot more mature than I am. He's a little better about that stuff. But with me, no. I can't. Okay, so let's get into my story because I've never talked about I've talked about all the guy relationships and romantic relationships that did not work out. But I want to talk about my friendships that are no longer. My favorite song, I love the new Taylor Swift song, Canceled, that she wrote about Blake Lively and her falling out with Blake Lively. And I thought, that's good. Let's just not say it's all about men, women can piss me off too. And they have taken advantage of me as well too. So we're going to get into that. Okay. So I met somebody new. This is a while back. This is when I was working out in North Scottsdale. This is a shop where I met Sandy at. This is a shop where I met KP at, and some other great people that I still talk to from time to time. We all have very busy lives now. We all grew. The only person that's still there is KP. We all left that horrible place. That was with a guy, Christopher, that was a very flamboyant gay man that owns that place. Anyways, so I was a bather there. Obviously, I'm still a bather. What am I talking about? And so at this shop, this was a very, very busy shop. This was a very, very busy grooming shop. They're not as busy anymore, I don't think. I don't know. They moved into a smaller building, so I don't know. But at the time that I was working there, I'm trying to think, I don't know when this was, maybe 2016, 17, I have no clue. My life is just, but when I was working there, I remember Aiden was like in junior high. Okay. So, and we just got rid of, I had a horrible time with the first bather that was there. She was awful. And so she was gone. She quit, and then of course she blamed me for quitting. I don't know. She was such a drama queen. Ugh, it was awful. So she was gone, and so I was super excited to finally meet somebody new. I thought, oh my God, this is going to be like amazing. I was super excited, just like dogs get. And so she came in, and we instantly just clicked. I mean, she was awesome. The thing that I really admired about her is that she really did love dogs. The previous bather that I had worked with had never, first of all, she had never grown up with dogs. She didn't know anything about dogs. She wasn't good with dogs, and she didn't like the big dogs. She would go run and hide to the bathroom and stuff, and she wouldn't want to bathe her her fair share of dogs, even though this girl, she was like half my age, and she was like, had no stamina. Here I was, like a fucking, like in my 40s at 180 pounds, and you got someone in their 20s at like 120 pounds, and she's like, I'm so tired. I didn't understand that. I'm like, what the fuck, girl? Because when I first got into the dog grooming industry, and I will be forever grateful for the woman that trained me, she told me, she said, this is not glamorous work. Okay, this is back-breaking, filthy, you're getting peed on, you're getting bit, you're getting shitted on. This is not, you're not playing with the dog. Okay, this is back-breaking, serious work. And she told me that it's hard work. She really, really instilled that in me. And so that's why I became so driven and such a hard worker and things like that. As you know, Sandy then taught me how to understand dogs and deal with them a little bit better. So between the first person that trained me, back when Aiden was 10 years old, that's when I got into this industry. Now he's 19. And Sandy teaching me how to understand dogs, how to read dogs. The two are good. I know that I have to work my fucking ass off. I know that. That's why I do a lot of back strengthening exercise and things like that. And then I know that you need to understand the dogs too. And that was one thing that I really liked about this new bather that came on, because she had big dogs and she was not afraid of big dogs, and she wanted to do all the big dogs. And she got excited about some of the breeds of the dogs, which is awesome, because there's certain breeds that I love, And so we were a really, really good team. And it was so refreshing to be with somebody that was a hard worker, had a lot of energy. And let me tell you, she had never really bathed dogs on that kind of level. We were bathing, but this shop did like 50 dogs a day. So this girl and I were bathing 15 to 20 dogs every single day. I know. Yeah. I kicked butt at that place, guys. I did. And I lived I always tell people this so funny thing that even back then, people were trying to get me to drink water. And I'm like, hell no. Get me a Pepsi. And I used to get those king size Reese's. And that's what I freaking lived on, because we barely even had lunch break. We just kept boom, 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 working. So that's what I really admired about her. She had a bubbly, outgoing personality. And so the one thing that I did find out about her was I found out that she had a hookup to the pot. Yes, I know. Amazing, right? She had the hookup to the pot. Now, she did not have a medical marijuana license, but she knew somebody that did. And so that's why she was able, she's like, girl, I will hook you up. And I'm like, hello there, okay? Because the first time I had done pot was probably about 10 years before that, maybe, I want to say. I remember I was like 32 or something. I was in my 30s, and it was with that guy, the post-it note guy, even though he wrote on an envelope. I still call him post-it note because that sounds so much better than saying envelope guy. The post-it note guy, the one that was like when Aiden was 6 years old, he's like, your son's giving me the stink eye. What the fuck, dude? My son is 6 years old and autistic. He's not looking anybody in the eye. What the fuck is your problem, you grown-ass man? Yeah, him. He turned me on to pot for the first time. So with him, you know, we had these wonderful like pot brownies, and I thought this was amazing. I still remember the first time I did pot with him. It was hilarious because, you know, I'm very tightly wound. I'm a type A type of personality. I'm very driven. I'm very intense. And he had never heard me with, like, I was just laying in his bed and I was cracking up, like literally just hysterically laughing, like back when I was like 15 at a girl's slumber party. And you want to know the first thing I said? I said, holy crap, I can so not take care of Aiden right now. I remember the first thought as the pot entered my system. It was a wonderful brownie. I still remember what it was. It was chocolate raspberry, yummy, yummy. As it was in my system and I could feel my inhibitions, as they say, dropping, which was a new for me because, you know, I've never been drunk a day in my life. I was just like, holy shit, I could so not be a fucking parrot right now. That's the first thing I thought of. I thought, thank the Lord that my son is with his father, you know. And I couldn't, so yeah, I just cracked up. And I remember we like slept like all day long too. You know, and of course we had pot sex and it was amazing. But, you know, shortly after that, I think I only had 1 or 2 brownies with him. So it was like 1 or 2 weekends. And then shortly after that, he dumped my ass. So the pot was done. He had a medical marijuana license. He was one of the first people to have a medical marijuana license. I know, like when it first kind of started and it was like legal, I remember thinking, wow, this is so cool, you know. Anyways, so here I am with this new person that I met. She's a new bather. And she was an amazing bather for someone who had not bathed before. She really did. And because she was happy. I always say it's your fucking mindset, people. If you're happy, things go better. Okay, so get, you know, be a little bit more positive. And so she was happy and she loved the dogs. And then when she told me about, she was like, girl, because I was telling her about pot because, you know, I have had such a hard time falling asleep, you know, because of my ADHD, my racing thoughts, and, you know, I have a hard time turning my brain off. And so I was taking, like before the pot, people, I will tell you something. I was damaged, you know, I still damaged my liver, but I was really damaging my liver. I was up to taking like 30 to 40 NyQuil pills a night. I know. Yeah. Until my dad was like, oh my God, you need pot. But so I always knew that I needed pot. And when she told me that she had the hookup to pot, I'm like, hook me up, girl. Hook me up. I was so excited, right? And she's like, yeah, I got you, you know, and I'm like, cool, thank you. And so she got me a brownie. I still remember. It was Rocky Road. I thought, oh, wow, this is like amazing. I was like, there's marshmallows. There was, I don't know if it was walnuts or almonds in there. There was nuts in there and it was chocolate. Oh my God, it was so amazing. Okay, so she got me this brownie. Now, I can't wait to do it. Okay. I thought about waiting until my day off, but I couldn't, you know, with me and my ADHD, I'm a little kid and my impulse control. So I'm like, no, I got to do it now. Okay. But we all know Johanna Banana. Be a responsible slut, be a responsible drug addict. Okay, so here I thought I was being my usual responsibleness, you know, and so I made sure I got all my chores done, you know, my 2 loads of laundry. I always put my clothes up, I hang them on the back of my door because, you know, me and mornings are no bueno, so I don't want to fucking think. So I just like to throw my clothes on. So I always have my clothes laid out the night before. I said, I got all this done, right? And I decided I'm going to have this brownie, right? Now, the whole brownie, now, I had not done pot in, I don't know, I'm trying to think. and it was 6, probably had been about 3 or 4 years since I had done pot. Okay. And it was 100 milligram and it was a brownie. And like I said, it was s'mores. And I remember thinking, this is amazing. I got myself a big glass of milk because I always like to feel like a little kid. I always want to go back to simpler times, you know? And so I got myself this big glass of milk and I got my brownie on a little paper towel and I started eating it. And I remember feeling like such a little kid. Look at me, I'm a brownie. And it tasted so good, guys. Oh my God, so tasty. And before you knew it, I was a dumbass. Yes, me and my impulse control. I took the whole damn thing, guys. I took 100 milligrams. Yes, yes. Can you imagine? You haven't done pot in like 4 or 5 years, and then you start with 100 milligrams. You're supposed to start. For those of you that don't know the pot world, you're supposed to start with 5 to 10 milligrams. Yeah. And here I went with like 100 because, well, Johanna Banana has no impulse control. And this brownie tasted damn fucking good. I mean, oh my God, you know, with the marshmallows in there, yummy, yummy, yummy. It was so good that I just, before I knew it, it was gone. And I'm like, fuck. But still, by that time, who cares, right? I was cracking up. I was happy. I was like, whatever, this is wonderful. And so I go to bed, right? And boom, I passed out. Now, in the middle of the night, I remember I had to work the next day. I had to work the next day. And I was the only bather. Yes, I was the only bather that day. And so I knew I had to be there. So, but I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. And that's when I knew, fuck. Okay, because I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I get up and I'm like, fuck. Like, and I've had this when I have drank a little bit too, not enough to like black out or not remember anything, but when I'm under the influence of something, it feels like I'm sinking into the ground. So the minute I got up to go pee, I felt like I was stepping in sand. You know what I mean? Even though it's it was my floor, I felt like I was sinking in. And I'm like, oh fuck. Oh my God, I have to be like up in like 3 hours and I have to bathe all these fucking dogs and oh my fucking Lord, right? Okay, so I'm freaking out, right? But I think nothing of it. I'm like, it's okay. It's still early. I'll just sleep it off, right? No big deal. No big freaking deal, right? I still thought I was okay. Okay, well, my alarm comes off and it's like, I don't know what time it was. I had to get up super early because this was way out North Scottsdale and I live in Peoria. So it was like an hour commute, but it was Saturday, so the traffic wasn't as bad. And so I was just like, oh my God, oh my fucking Lord. And I'm freaking the fuck out. Like, I don't know what to do because, this is so different. You know, I had such a high tolerance to NyQuil that, you know, people look at me like, damn, how did you fucking go to work when you took 30 NyQuil? I've been taking NyQuil since I've been 15. Okay. So that's no big fucking surprise. But with the pot, it was like, holy shit. And I didn't know what to do. So who do I call? I call my best friend at the time, Sydney. Okay. She's half my age. Okay. She is. So at the time I was I think she was like 20 or something. No, she was even younger than that. I don't know. She was young. Anyway, she was in like her early 20s. She's 27 now. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I called her and I'm like, what the fuck, girl? Like, what the fuck? I am fucking high as fuck. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? Oh my God, I have to fucking drive. And I felt like I was going to throw up. The room was spinning. And she's like, eat something. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'm going to eat something. All right. This is fine. You know, and here's the thing about me. We all know, as I said before, I'm a people pleaser, which is nothing to do with being a fucking saint. It's high anxiety. Okay. So, but I just get so nervous about letting people down. I feel, you know, because again, I was instilled your ramifications, your actions, you know, and here's the thing about grooming and at grooming shops. This is so different than office work. Office work, you can call out sick and they're like, okay, it's no big deal. You know, we'll just do a little bit more work. In grooming, when you have you can't, it's a pain in the fucking ass to reschedule dogs. So you have to fucking be there. That's another thing that people don't understand. There are some groomers that just don't give a shit. If they're like really sick, they're like, I'm sick. Call all my dogs. No, no. It is a big pain in the ass. So I don't ever want to put people in that situation. I've been in that situation, having to pick up the pieces because somebody's supposedly sick. You don't know how many damn groomers have supposedly had. I used to manage groomers. You don't know how many damn groomers. I have food poisoning. What the fuck? Yeah, food poisoning happens right when you take the food. You either vomit or have a shitload of diarrhea. But I'm sorry. I don't think you're going to be sick all fucking day. I've heard it all, but whatever. So I didn't want to be one of those fucking people, but I was feeling it. I was fucking feeling it. I was like, shit. So I remember I got like Cheerios. I got Cheerios. I got a big thing of water. I'm ready to drive to work all the way out in Scottsdale. I'm still feeling like I'm going to pass out or throw up. I don't know. I'm feeling like crap. I will tell you something. For somebody that has OD'd numerous times, let me tell you something. I'll tell you guys a trick, okay? It's not fun. It's not a beautiful thing. But if you feel like you're going to fucking barf, get cold. Okay, get cold. Aiden knows this trick. This is what you fucking do, people. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've shared this with friends who are like, damn, Johanna, you're right. Yes, okay. You want to freeze the fuck out of yourself, okay? So I was blasting the air. I was blasting my AC. I'm down in the Cheerios. I'm drinking the water. You know, I was running late to work too. Yeah, for the first time, Johanna Banana's fucking late. And I hate being late. I hate it. And so I remember Sydney, she's like, don't worry, girl. I got you covered. Okay, just get here. Just get here. Okay, because I was the only bather. And there was like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think, 3 or 4 groomers that I had to bathe for. And I'm like, fuck, you know. And so I get there. And it's pretty bad, right? And again, just like anybody under the influence of something, you think you're better than you are. You're trying to hide it, and you think that you're too full for school. Well, one of my good friend coworkers, I love this little groomer. I loved her. She was just so cute. She looked like a little elf. I loved her so much. I love her. Don't want to say her name because you know me, I'm trying to keep people privacy, but she told me, you're not as together as you think you are. Our boss is going to notice. So I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you for being honest and telling me that that's fucked up. Okay, thank you. And so I was like, fuck, you know, because I didn't want to tell them that I had done 100 milligrams of pot, you know, that I have OD'd on a pot brownie. I did not want to say that because, you know, I didn't have a medical marijuana license and pot was still illegal. Duh. Yeah, pot was still illegal in Arizona. It's not like today where you see all these people at a dispensary. I fucking hate that they made it legal in a way because you see all these people at a dispensary with their driver's licenses. Yeah, no. So I didn't have a medical marijuana license at the time. Pot was still illegal. I didn't know what to fucking say, but they knew I was fucked up because I looked it. So this is what I told them. I tried to think, and I always try to think. I know this is bad. You know, I don't lie that often. I really don't. Most time that I lie is to save people's feelings and not to be mean, because I'm pretty fucking bad at lying because, you know me, I tell it like it fucking is and I have no filter. Well, it's hard to do that when you're lying, right? So I had to think. And when I do lie, I know this is fucking bad, but when I do lie, I try to think of something that the person can relate to. I know this is really fucking bad. So this guy had a ton of allergies. I remember he was just like, but allergies, I can't breathe. That's how he was. And so I was thinking about it, like, I know what I'll say. I will tell him. So that's what I said. I said, oh my God. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sick right now. Because they could totally tell. And I said, you know, I woke up at midnight last night and I couldn't breathe. And this is something this man used to say about his sinuses. I said, my sinuses. They were so bad. I said, so I just took a handful of Benadryl. I told him I took like, I don't even know at the time, 12 or something. And I've taken 12 Benadryl. I said, I took a handful of Benadryl and I just passed out. I still feel the Benadryl. And you should have seen this man. I felt kind of guilty. I really felt guilty, but this guy was such a fucking asshole. He still is to this goddamn day that now I don't feel bad about lying, but this is before I thought he was such a fucking dick. So, he was just like, oh my God, Johanna, are you trying to kill yourself? That's horrible. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he was a very flamboyant gay guy. I love that part about him. That was the only thing I loved about him. And so it was so funny. He was just like, oh my God. And he was like so worried about me. And I'm like, oh, fuck, you know? I'm like thinking now he's thinking that he's going to have to take me to the hospital or something, you know? And I'm like, no, it's fine. I'll get through it. Okay, so I'm trying to get through it. I really am. Luckily, I make friends easily. All these girls, all these groomers had my back. Thank the Lord fucking Jesus. So they stepped up, they bathed a couple, they did a couple, because here I was. There was one point where I was, this is so embarrassing, but I have done this at every freaking grooming shop because I don't like to let people down. So I don't call out sick. I will go to work sick. And I was sick. And I'm watching this Yorkie and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna throw up, you know. And of course I couldn't tell everybody, please turn the air conditioning down to like 60 so I don't, toss my cookies. I couldn't tell them that, right? So here I am scrubbing this freaking Yorkie and I'm leaning over this tub and I'm like, fuck. Luckily that lovely groomer, one of my good friends, the one that I always call, she's like a cute little elf, she's so adorable. She came by and I was like, girl, can you watch this dog for a second? And she's like, yeah, sure. So and I literally, I know, this is probably going to gross you out. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not like girly and this. I literally went over to the garbage can and went, bleh. Yeah, I did. I'll tell some other stories. When I used to crawl to garbage cans at work. Yeah, that was at Bonnie's and throw up in them too. Yeah, I've thrown up in every fucking garbage can known to man, people. I fucking have. I just, that's how I am. And so anyway, so I threw up. Oh my God, that was so bad. And so that was bad. And then get this. Then, oh my God. So then I was drying a dog, right? And I was sitting down. I actually sat down to dry this dog. And literally, like, because the warm heat and I was like, and we had this little groomer dude, this little guy. He was so tiny. He was a tiny little dude. He came over and he says, I need to take this dog away from you. You're going to fucking like lose it. He thought the dog was going to like fall off the table and something. I know, it was so bad. It was so bad, guys. It was so awful. And the girl, my new friend, that had given me this brownie, later on I found out, and I don't know if this is true. I've never done this. She's like, girl, you should have told me. I would have come down and given you some CBD. Apparently, if you get too high, I don't know, guys. I've never tried this because after that, I ended up having such a high tolerance to pot. But apparently, if you OD on pot, you can take CBD, and that somehow like brings you down or it calms you down. But yeah, it was awful. It really was. Working that day high on pot, oh my God, it was horrible. Okay, so hold on, I gotta drink. I have this horrible cough. Okay. All right. So, now, this girl, things really get nasty at this place. Like at every fucking grooming shop. Every grooming shop is drama. So they kind of get bad. And she decides to leave. She says, I'm going to quit. She had it up to here with this guy. This job really was one of the hardest jobs that I have ever been at. I used to think the job that I quit just a little bit ago, Pampered Paws, I talk about a lot. I always say that was really bad. This other job was 10 times worse than Pampered Paws. It really was. And I only lasted 8 months at that job. Because my dad, this is another thing. My dad always instilled in me, you got to give a workplace a year. Give it a year. A lot can happen in a year. You got to give it a year. And with this place, I couldn't even give it a year. I remember I got to the point where I think I'd been 8 months in and I was crying every day to go to work because this guy was so nasty. All these people, they're not these people, I shouldn't say, the coworkers were great, but the guy, he was so nasty. Anyways, but she left before I left. She quit before I quit, and I was sad. I still remember. I clearly remember because she, we were good friends. She was my drug dealer, and anyways, I remember I gave her a hug. I cried after she left. And I think I only lasted after she left. I think I only lasted like a week or two. I think I gave my 2 week notice. But let me tell you something. Most places, when you give your 2 week notice, they usually let you go that day or the next day. But with bathers, because bathers are really hard to come by, because we're the hired help that do like the muck work that nobody wants to fucking do. We have to finish our 2 week notice. So I finished my 2 week notice with him, and then that's when I went to go work with Sandy. Had left too. Nobody lasted long there except for KP. KP loves that guy, whatever. And so yeah, I started working at Bonnie's, and I hadn't talked to her in a long time. I really hadn't. I ended up getting my own medical marijuana license. I did. Um, and oh yeah, because my dad got that for me, because it was my dad that saw me taking these handfuls of NyQuil, and he's like, "Oh my God, Joanna, you need to get your medical marijuana license." And I'm like, "Dad, I can't afford the $350 and then also pay for the pot." So for Christmas, my dad got me my medical marijuana license. It's like $350 for 2 years. It's worth it every penny, though. I know I have to renew this year. Unfortunately, I have to pay that in November, but it's worth it. It really is. My tolerance is so high. But anyways, so time had passed. Okay, time had passed, and I hadn't really even, I stayed in touch. We would text each other every once in a while. We were friends on Facebook, that sort of thing. And it really wasn't until she got into this car accident that we kind of, and my dad passing away, that we kind of reconnected. I didn't even think I would ever see this girl again after, we had worked together and she was my drug dealer and all this stuff, right? And so anyways, I found out that she had been in a terrible car accident and almost died. Okay, she had been like T-boned. Now, let me tell you something about this girl. I talk about my high tolerance to pot and drugs. She has an even higher tolerance to drugs and pot. Okay, she did pot 24/7, and to me, I don't get how people do this. I've had friends that drink while they're working. I've had friends do pot while they're working. I don't know how they fucking do it. I don't know. When anything comes into my system, I need to get in my pajamas, get me a stuffed animal, and put me to bed. Okay. I don't know how people function. I guess it just takes time or whatever. There's been times where I think I can handle the pot and I'll do it at home during the day. And what am I doing? I'm asleep in bed. Like, it's just so stupid. And then Ada looks at me. He's like, "I thought we already knew that you can't function on pot." Yeah, I know. Every once in a while I forget and I think I can function on pot, and I test it out when I'm at home, and I can't function on pot. She could. So she did pot 24/7. Now, I can't imagine, as much as that I put into my system every single night, I can't imagine constantly putting something into your system. Constantly. Like, she never didn't have anything in her system. It was always pot and some other stuff. She smoked it. She would smoke like crumble or wax. I don't know, all this stuff. She had all this stuff that she would do. Like, she was a major, major potheader, 24/7 potheader. And I do believe, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure when she got in this accident that, was her fault. She got T-boned because she was making an unprotected left-hand turn. I'm sure she was high at the time, but this really sad, tragic thing was she almost died. She had a traumatic brain injury. She had, like water on her brain, and she almost died. She had to learn to eat. She had to learn to walk. It was horrific. I remember when I reconnected with her, it was like, "Oh my God, you almost died." Like, I told all my friends that we had all worked together at that place in Scottsdale. I'm like, "Oh my God, she almost died, guys. This is incredible." They're like, "Wow, oh, poor thing." We felt so bad for her. And so she was in a situation where after, the car accident, she couldn't work. She wasn't eligible. She didn't get the disability at the time. She didn't have disability, but she couldn't work, and she was terrified to drive again. I really can't blame her for that. She said she will never drive again. Now, the really cool thing about her, and of course I will admit I was so fucking jealous, but the really cool thing about her is she had a wonderful boyfriend. She really did. I will tell you something. A lot of my friends that I have met over the years, they have some wonderful guys. I know, and I'm very jealous of that because I'm like, you guys are so fucking lucky, and you don't even realize it, because they're just like they just take it for granted. They take these nice guys just for granted, and it just breaks my heart because they don't know what kind of assholes are out there. So she had this really nice boyfriend, and of course he was supporting her and he was driving her everywhere. And okay, so my dad had just passed away. Now her dad had passed away back when she was in high school, so she and I could relate to that. Was one thing that we kind of reconnected to, as we could talk about grief, losing a parent, because it's very hard to find people that have been through it and know what that's like. She was very close to her father, like I was so close to my father, and I couldn't imagine. I mean, I think she was like something like a senior in high school when her father died. I mean, that just broke my heart. Cancer, it's always cancer. And so anyway, so we reconnected, and we related to grieving, and so she wanted to work. But she couldn't like work on, because she was waiting for her disability. So she couldn't like sign up with an employer. She said she had to do like under the table type of work. Hold on. Okay, so she had to do under the table work, and I had all this shit from my dad's house. All this shit got sent up here, shipped up here to me, and because I was an only child, so I got everything. And so I was going through, and she was a true Susie homemaker. Okay, this girl was a true Susie homemaker. Unlike me, I'm not like that, but yeah, she cooked, she cleaned, she also had the hookup with posting things. It wasn't on Facebook Marketplace. Anyway, she knew it wasn't Craigslist. I'm trying to think what it was. Anyway, I asked her to post a bunch of stuff. I said, come work for me. I'll pay you under the table. And she was like, awesome, and and I also asked her to clean too, because that's another thing too. When you're grieving, your place goes to shit because, well, your life is in the fucking toilet. You're feeling like crap, so your place goes to shit. So I asked her to clean too. Like, she just kind of came in, and I really wanted her to like organize my life. That's what I wanted, because, I was feeling so lost. I had all my dad's stuff, and we were remodeling. That's another thing. I was redoing my house. I went into a whole frenzy of, I just wanted my place to look totally different. I wanted my place to look different, not like how it looked when my dad was alive, and so she was, excuse me. She owned a condo too that she had painted and fixed up, and so she was doing all that too, and she was helping me, and her nice boyfriend. Her boyfriend was super nice, did everything for her, drove her everywhere, did all this stuff. He was incredible. I know some of these men, you're like, oh, incredible, and so here's the thing. So we were doing that for a while. Now, of course, I had my dad's inheritance money. She was a fellow pot person too. So we were doing a shit load of pot, people. Yes, we were. I mean, it's like when you get with another potheader, holy crap, right? And of course I drove, and she turned me on to all these different dispensaries, and I'm a very generous person. I like to share and stuff like that. So we were getting a lot of pot, and I was sharing a lot of this pot with her. I was. And I wasn't even like really even paying attention. I was not, because it was such a blur, all of it was such a blur. And she was cleaning for me off and on when she could. Aiden was the first one to notice. Aiden was like, because Aiden looks out for me, because, well, I don't look out for my damn self. And Aiden, when you're kind of like watching this from afar, Aiden could see, and he's like, do you realize how much free pot you're giving her? I wasn't. I would just be like, here, try this. Oh, here, share this. Here, there, that. And then she would ask, because there were, at some of these dispensaries, there would be like punch cards and stuff. And then I would get like a free pre-roll or a free wax. And of course I don't smoke, because I can't inhale and I don't want to damage my lungs. And so she would be like, oh, I want that. And so she would take it. Sometimes she'd even resell it to people to make money. And so Aiden was the first one to point out, you are doing a lot of pot. And I was. I was doing a shitload of fucking pot. I really was. Because I was grieving. I was grieving for my dad. I was all fucked up. I had all this money for my inheritance. I had all this stuff. And I didn't know what to do. I was just drowning. And so here's when she first started to piss me off. Okay, Aiden did notice that I was giving her a lot of free pot. We were doing a lot more pot than, I used to do, obviously, and that bothered Aiden. But here's what pissed me off. And this is how I am. Okay, this is how I am. Okay, the number one thing that pisses me off is when I'm paying somebody and they're bitching. Okay, that just rubs me the wrong fucking way. Okay, it really fucking does. And so I was paying her. I don't know what I was paying her. I don't even remember. It's all such a blur, but I'm sure like a couple $100 or something. I was paying her like a couple $100 to clean my condo and do some laundry. Some of the furniture that I got from my dad's, like this table that I'm sitting, I didn't even have a kitchen table. That's how much of a non-Susie homemaker I was. I didn't even sit at a table to have dinner. I didn't give a shit. But now I got this table for my dad. It was wood. I got another piece of furniture for my dad that was wood. And so she was like, you need to get some Pledge, the Pledge cleaner. And I was thinking, I don't even think this is like real wood. I think this is like just like fabric wood or, wood faux pas, particle wood. That's what I thought it was. I'm like, you don't need Pledge. I don't want to buy Pledge. So here I forgot to buy Pledge, or I didn't think about it. I could not believe this bitch. I could not fucking believe this bitch. Oh my God. She was like, oh my God, Johanna, you don't have Pledge? Now, we talked about this. Excuse me? Excuse the fuck out of me? Are you, what, we talked, yeah, I know we talked about this, but what I didn't expect is the fucking a lecture from you. Especially when I'm paying you $200 and all you're doing is just kind of running around and going back and forth because she had a homemade fucking bong outside on my patio. Yeah, fucking homemade. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? With like a water bottle and I don't know what the fuck. I have no fucking clue, And I was paying her and she had the nerve to give me a lecture about not buying Pledge. Yeah. Now, I was pissed. I didn't say anything. Now with Aiden, my son will do the same damn fucking thing to me. And I will put him in his place and I will remind him, you don't get to bitch. Shut the fuck up. Because my son will pull this shit and I'll be like, excuse me, I work 7 days a week for your fucking ass. You go to school 4 days a week for 4 hours a day. Shut the fuck up. That's what I don't like. And that's just me being, I don't know if me being a bitch, but when I'm paying you and then you're sitting there and complaining, oh no. Oh, that just makes me fucking rage. Oh, fucking no. No. Yeah, so that kind of was the first kind of red flag. Now, the other red flag with her was when I wanted to do something other than just go to dispensary. Yeah, she didn't want to really go with me anywhere else but a damn dispensary. And I think there was something else that she wanted to do too. And it was so that she can get the drugs. I can't remember what it was. I don't know. She wanted me to get her another. She was a fucking addict, a big time addict. I don't know what it was, but there was something else where she wanted to get. Oh, I know. She wanted her boyfriend. She's like, I want you to pay my boyfriend to hang up stuff like pictures on my wall, that he did some decals and stuff. Yeah. So I paid him too. But so all of this was kind of, and there was a couple times that she would cancel when it'd be something other than, me paying her. If it was other than her coming to clean or organize my stuff or go to the dispensary, she didn't want to be involved in it. She would always cancel or, oh, I'm busy or, whatever. So I kind of noticed that, and that really kind of pissed the fuck out of me, And so here's where I was fucking done with her ass. Okay. This is when I finally realized that I didn't want to be friends with her anymore. That this was no bueno. Was when I was doing my whole, and I will say, I'm sorry, I forgot. I do need to give her credit for this. She did get me on social media. She got me hooked up on Snapchat. I didn't know what Snapchat was. She got me hooked up on TikTok. I didn't care for TikTok, but I did a little advertisement on TikTok about my Johanna Banana YouTube channel. She was the one that kind of got me deciding to talk about my stories and my love life. Aiden too, Aiden was like, let's examine what you're doing wrong, And so I do have to give her credit. I wouldn't be having a podcast if it wasn't for her. Okay. Yeah. So I do need to give her credit for that. But here's the thing that really pissed the fucking fuck out of me. And this is when I cut her out of my life. So I was filming my Johanna Banana. And I was going to do this Halloween episode, right? And I wanted to get like a boyfriend. So I got this big skeleton. And of course I called him Bones. He was like, full-size skeleton. And I was going to have him be my boyfriend on my Johanna Banana episode. You guys got to check it out. You got to check it out. It's Halloween. And I had my best friend, Miss Butterfly. She was going to tell one of her dating horror stories. And I decided, I don't know where I got this from, but for some reason, I decided I wanted to be Elvira. Yeah, I don't know where I got that from. I think it's because I had done a pet episode. And when dogs have really long nails, I always call them, oh my God, you got Elvira nails, And so it kind of got me thinking, I want to be Elvira. And so, because I have the dark hair and she's kind of goofy and corny too, like me, and I was like, yeah, let's be Elvira. But here's the thing about Johanna Banana. Not only is Johanna Banana not a Susie homemaker, Johanna Banana doesn't know how to put on makeup. Yeah, I'm not really good with makeup. I'm not. I'm like a 5-year-old with makeup. I will get lipstick more on my teeth than I will on my lips. I don't know anything about makeup. Or any of this crap, so, and she did, like, she was all into this whole makeup thing too. Yeah, she was doing this whole modeling, webcam modeling and all this stuff too, fans only or whatever. I don't know this crap, and so I asked her, I said, can you please help me with my makeup, right? And she's like, yeah. And I showed her what I wanted to do, and she's like, okay, this is what you need to order. She was very, very bossy. That was one thing that I did not care for her. She was a very, very bossy person. I mean, you can totally tell when this person has been the oldest child. Yeah, that's how she was. She was even though she was like half my fucking age, she would boss you around. Okay, all right. Well, this is everything you're going to need, girl, for me to do your makeup, right? And now, I also want to say that Johanna Banana is very much of a planner. I'm a big time planner because I'm not a go with the flow person. I don't like to have the rug pulled out from under me. That's another thing that will piss the fucking fuck out of me. We all remember Pima Air and Space Museum. What the fuck? Get out of my life. And so I try to plan ahead of time to compensate for that, and we're all busy people. So I had told her about this, I think 2 weeks to 3 weeks before we were going to do this. We had all planned out, and this girl did not work. Okay, she did not work. She just, everybody catered to her. That was another thing that I was so jealous about. Of course, yes, I know Johanna, she did almost die in a car accident. But from her mom to her sister to her boyfriend, they all was like, oh, we got to take care of her. We got to pick this up for her. We have to drive her over here. We have to go do this for her. We have to go do that for her, And yeah, I was jealous of that. I'll say that, and so anyway, so I planned way ahead of time, even though she didn't have a job or anything, all this stuff, right? Okay. So now I'm getting ready this is a day before that we're supposed to do this. Yeah, the day before that I'm supposed to film my Johanna Banana Halloween thing. And Ada and I are getting ready for our family photo shoot. I know. I miss doing the photos. One, I don't have the money to do it. Excuse me. Hold on. Let me take a sip. Okay, one, I don't have the money to do these family portraits that I used to do with our lizards. Two, my wonderful photographer was friends with my old boss that fired me. I'll tell that story another time. So I just didn't feel like it was right to ever ask her. But I did find out that another coworker of mine, her mom does photography. So maybe one day Aiden and I and a lizard can take a family photo shoot again. Anyways, so I was getting ready for this family photo shoot with Aiden, right? It was a day before I was going to shoot. She was going to come over, we are going to do the makeup, and I was going to shoot Johanna Banana. As I'm driving to Anthem Park, that's where Aiden and I used to always have our family photo shoots because it's just beautiful up there in Anthem Park. She's blowing up my phone. Oh my God, girl, I'm so sorry. I can't make it. I don't know what stupid excuse she gave me, but I didn't give a fuck at that point because I'm like, you're literally canceling me on like the day before. And I don't know if I would have taken it so hard. You know, I remember telling one of my good friends about this. She's like, damn, Johanna, you're kind of a cold-hearted bitch. It's like, no, no, no. Yes, I can be. And yes, I was to her. But here's the thing. I don't think I would have been such a cold-hearted fucking bitch if she hadn't always been counseling on me. If it wasn't anything she wanted to fucking do, I wouldn't have had that in my head. If this was like the first time that she canceled on me, I would have been like, pfft. But because this was a pattern that I was seeing with her freaking ass, it just pissed the fuck out of me. I was like, don't worry about it. Don't fucking worry about it. Because she was trying to figure out how she could, you know, squeeze it in, yada, yada, yada. I said, don't worry about it. I think that's all I could say. Because I could not say anything more nice to her at all. Not at all. I was just like, don't worry about it. Because I was really kind of like, I did a lot for her. You know, I paid her for the cleaning. I paid her, I gave her a free pot. She wanted to buy all these plants and go all these different places. I used to drive her around to all these different places. And I'm like, this was the one thing that was so, as I say in Spanish, so importante to me. And like I often tell guys, you know, you just pull down your pants and shit on it. Yeah, she fucking shit on it. And I was just like, no, no, no. I said, I will do my makeup my damn self. So when you do, if you ever do go to Johanna Banana Halloween, yeah, that's me doing my own damn makeup because I had to. Yeah, I fucking had to because she just bailed on me yet again because it wasn't anything she wanted to do. And we weren't going to the dispensary and there wasn't going to be a shitload of pot. So what's the fucking point? Yeah, yeah, I was pissed. And I never, ever talked to her again. I blocked her from everything. And yeah, that was it. So I don't know. Maybe I was a cold hearted bitch about it, but at the same token, I do feel like even Aiden, that she was taking advantage of me. She really was. She wasn't a true friend, you know. I'll share some other stories, people that I thought were like really good friends, but no, they were not good friends. I wanted the friendship so badly, and I'm such a people pleaser, and being adopted and all. I always want to be, I want a sense of belonging and acceptance. You know, I want to be part of something. You know, being rejected as a baby, it makes you have this hole in your heart, and you want to be like accepted and a part of something. And I do see a lot of my friends as, you know, as family. I don't see the difference between friends and family. I feel like they're kind of like all the same. I love them just the same, you know, just like Miss Butterfly. I truly believe she was my sister in like a past life. You know, we say that often. We're two kindreds. I love you, Miss Butterfly. Love you, girl. And thank you for being on the Halloween episode and sharing your dating horror story. That was fabulous, girl. Thank you. So yeah, so that was the story of her, my former drug dealer. Then she was going to be my cleaning lady, but she was a horrible, horrible cleaning lady. Oh my God, she was awful. Probably because she was high the whole freaking time. But yeah, that's what happened in that whole friendship thing. I know and it was really sad, but I really want to say that whole time, I don't know, maybe it was like 6 or 7 months that went on. I really don't know. It was kind of a blur. But it was sad, you know, because when she stopped working at that place in Scottsdale, we were really good friends. It wasn't until later when we were both fucked up. You know, I was grieving for my dad. the death of my dad had become my identity. Her car accident, almost dying, that had become her identity, she was all fucked up from that. So it's basically a tale of two fucked up women that are no longer friends. But yeah, it was sad because there was some, we really did have some fun times. Like I will show, if you want to go to my TikTok, if you go to some of my Snapchat filters when I'm making my pot candy, that was her recording those videos. And so there was some good times, just like every relationship, it doesn't start out bad. It really doesn't. You wouldn't, this person wouldn't be your best friend. This person wouldn't be your boyfriend if it had started out bad, right? It always starts out really good until it's not. And my aunt used to say something, this used to really break my heart. I used to hate it because, being adopted and not dealing with change that well, she used to tell me, she said, Johanna, people have seasons. What relationship works at one time in your life may not work down the road. And that used to break my heart because, I have such abandonment issues. Really, I really do. I've struggled a lot with my abandonment issues, being adopted and all. And so I used to hate when she would say that because I would be like, no, they have to be in my life forever. But now that I have, lived a little and had a lot of relationships with, guys, women, coworkers, that sort of thing. Yes. Okay. People do have seasons, and yes, you do outgrow people. Life changes, things go differently, but I do kind of, I regret it in a way. Like, I don't ever want her back in my life because she was so fucked up, even more so than I was, and I was grieving for my fucking dad. But I don't want her back in my life, but I do feel bad. I feel bad. I didn't want it to exactly end the way that it did. But that's what happened. That's how I felt at that moment. And yeah. So that's the story of a coworker who was my drug dealer, then my friend, and then I had to cut her off. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching my I think this is the fourth podcast. I have completely set this up myself. I'm really trying to be very self-sufficient and not depend so much on my child for this. And so now I'm going to do the whole rendering, as Aiden says, and the uploading. So hopefully in a couple hours, you guys will be able to listen to this podcast. Thank you to all my new viewers for giving me this wonderful support, because I kind of forgot how much I missed talking because I'm such a talker and I'm such a storyteller. I'm thinking about talking a little bit more about my life, because I don't want to make this bitching about guys all the time. I don't. We've done that already. I think I will talk a little bit more about, being adopted and my dad. I think that might be the next episode because I don't want to make them all like Debbie Downers. I think that's why in Johanna Banana I would put pet videos in, because I did not want it to be this whole male bashing, or this person screwed me over, or I don't want it to be that negative. I want it to be a little bit, because life is a mixture. So I want to put in some good stuff too. So I think maybe tomorrow night or the next night, maybe not tomorrow night, I said that, but tomorrow is like my 9 to 10 hour day. I might be bitchy, Johanna Banana. But I think I will then start to get into my background, because a lot of the person that you are today, or the person I am today, and people too, starts in your childhood. So I'm going to, I think, talk about my adoption. I was born in Colombia, Bogota, the capital. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about when I became legal. Yes, okay, all you fucking Trump supporters, I'm legit. I became a legal citizen at the age of 9. I'm going to talk about that as well. So that'll be my next podcast. But thank you guys so much for watching Johanna Banana. Have a good night.